Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy halfway through AP test. Today's assignment is going to be just a verification of what we did yesterday. So this is yesterday's assignment. And then today we're going to be using Desmos to see if what we did was true. So I've highlighted a few examples to go over to see how you did on yesterday's. And then I'm going to show you what today's expectation is along with those questions. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order. So I'm going to start with question K. So remember, there were three things that could cause an issue with the domain. The first one was dividing by 0. The second one was an even root of a negative number. And then finally, taking the log of 0 or a negative. These were the three things that could cause us an issue with our domain. So I'm going to start with letter K on yesterday's homework. And so it talks about g of x is equal to the log of x plus 1. So we would normally say the set of all real numbers, but because we have a log in here, we need to make sure that what we take a log of is not 0 and is not negative. So we need to make sure that x plus 1 is going to be greater than 0, so that it's not 0 and it's not negative. So that means that x needs to be greater than negative 1. So if I drew that on a number line, that would be an open circle at negative 1, and that would be shaded to the right. And then in interval notation, we would say open circle at negative 1 and going to infinity. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip over to Desmos, and we're going to see what that looks like on the graph. So I'm going to go ahead and type in g of x is equal to the log parentheses of x plus 1. We should start to see what this graph is looking like. And so do you see that we have this is counting by 2's here. So right at about negative 1, do you see it looks like we're having an asymptote? And I know with this graph it looks like it's touching 1, but it's actually getting closer and closer and closer to negative 1 without touching negative 1. So x equal negative 1 is actually an asymptote, and then it comes up here and it goes on to infinity. So let's make a sketch of this on the second page of the homework. So give me just a moment. So I sketched the graph that we had on Desmos, which showed that we had an asymptote at the line x is equal to negative 1. And we started very, very close to that asymptote. I noticed that it went through 0, 0, and then it continues on to infinity for here. So what I want us to do is just focus on the x-axis and see what x values actually have a real y value. So if you notice, there is no graph to the left of that asymptote. So I don't have any x values giving me a real y value there. And then at the asymptote, it seems to be our boundary, but negative 1 is not a possible solution. So do you see that that would be an open circle? And then every x value to the right of that asymptote does have a y value that we're mapping onto. So do you see that? We end up with the same graph that I had right here. Whoops, can't see. I'm out of room over here. So what I just charted on the x-axis is what we charted right here when we solved the problem and said what domain do we have. So the set of x values greater than negative 1 is where I can map onto a real y value. So the next problem that we're going to look at is b. And so we've got the function h of p is equal to 5 over 3p minus 2. So if we want to put this in terms of x and y, where x is typically our domain, we're saying h of x is equal to 5 over 3x minus 2. Yeah. And so then what is giving me the issue in terms of messing up my domain? So remember the three things: dividing by 0, the square root of a negative, or the log of a negative, or 0. So in this case, we don't want to be dividing by 0. That would mess up our domain. So we need 3x minus 2 to not be equal to 0. So if I solve that, we get 3x cannot be equal to 2, which means x cannot be equal to 2/3. other than that, we get the normal graph of the function. So let's take a look at Desmos. And the reason why I picked this one is Desmos doesn't really show you automatically where this is located. And so I'm going to show you how to figure that out. All right, so taking a look, I went ahead and graphed it. And if you notice, Desmos can handle using a different variable as long as you let them know what you're taking the function of. So by saying h of p, you're saying that your y value is a function of p, so it recognizes that p represents the domain. So we end up with this rational function here. And it's not perfectly obvious in this graph what's happening in terms of domain. But do you notice, as I go from left to right, this one decreases rapidly, and it seems to be approaching a certain value. And the same thing here, it decreases rapidly from a particular value and then goes on towards 0. And so what I want you to notice, since this is counting by 2's, this value here is 1. And do you see that it's just a little to the left of 1 that they are approaching? And a little to the left of 1 would be 2/3. So let me sketch this on our homework for today. And so just to be clear, we don't have to do a perfect sketch, if you notice. I just want to get the right idea. So I want to get the idea it's approaching 0 for a y value here, and it's approaching 0 for a y value here. If you wanted to, you could cross out this x and call it p, since p was our domain. And then we had this asymptote here at x is equal to 2/3. So this decrease getting closer and closer to 2/3. And then this decrease, but it was moving further away from 2/3. So what you'll notice is we don't have any x values at 2/3. So that is an open circle at 2/3. But then I have x values to the right of that, leading all the way up to 2/3. And I have x values to the left of that, again, leading up to 2/3. So do you see that this would be the set of all x values, not including 2/3? So if I was to write that on the first page, we're going to say, notice I ended up with two different, oops, can't see that. We ended up with two different intervals. So the interval to the left of the 2/3 is starting at -infinity and going to 2/3. And we're going to union that with the interval to the right of 2/3, which is starting at 2/3 and then going to positive infinity. So by putting that asymptote in the middle, we split our domain into two pieces, the part to the left of 2/3 and the part of to the right of 2/3. And we have open parentheses because 2/3 is not part of the domain. So then I want to talk about C and D, because those two, I'm not sure if you've ever seen questions like that before where we switch who represents the domain and who represents the range. So I want you to think about the traditional statement that says y is a function of x. So with that statement, we assume that y is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. So x would represent the domain and the values of y would represent the range. So in question C, if they say that s is a function of w, then that means that where I see s, I could call that a function of w. And then we can say that it's the square root of 2 minus w. And so I'm going to move over to Desmos and go ahead and graph this. So we're going to say f of w to let Desmos know that w is my domain. And that's going to be equal to, and then down here we're going to open up that arrow, and we're going to say the square root of 2 minus w. And so that goes ahead and gives us this graph. So notice it starts at 2. Actually, we're going to be decreasing, and then it actually stops at 2. So we're going to take a moment to sketch that and see what that means in terms of the interval for the domain. So in this graph, if I just focus on my w values, then that means, do you see that we have a closed circle because the value of w equal to 2 does have a real y value. I don't have any real y values to the right of 2, but I do have, w, let me say that again. I have no real s values to the right of w that w gets mapped onto, but I have real S values that W gets mapped onto to the left here. So taking a look at the original paper, this was our question. And so do you see that we would want to make sure that what I'm taking the square root of is a positive or a 0. So we want to make sure that 2 minus W is positive or 0, because for square roots, we just can't take the square root of a negative. So if I subtract 2 from both sides, that means negative W, or the opposite of W, is greater than or equal to negative 2. And dividing both sides by a negative switches the inequality as well. So we're going to have W is less than or equal to positive 2. So on a number line, that would be a closed circle at 2 shaded to the left. And if you notice, that's exactly what we have in red on our W axis. Okay? So then in interval notation, we would say that we would start from, I'm trying to figure out how to place this here. We're going to start from negative infinity, because you always go from left to right. We're going to finish at positive 2. And since positive 2 is included, we're going to go ahead and close that to let us know that 2 is part of our domain. So if we take a look at D, that's just going to switch our S and our W. So notice this one says W is a function of S. So now W is my representing values in my range, and S is representing values in our domain. And so if you look at the graph for D, here, do you see that what once was W and S is now S and then W? So what we need to do is switch everything in here from a W comma S to an S comma W. So for example, this point right here is at positive 2 comma 0. So now that's going to be at 0 comma positive 2. And what was at 0 comma some positive number is now going to be at some positive number comma 0. And then what is at some negative number comma some positive number is going to be at some positive number comma some negative number. So if you notice, instead of a parabola opening to the left, we're going to get a parabola that's opening down. Get that right in that window shade. And so do you see that when we're talking about our domain now, we're talking about the values here. So do you see that the values would say, I have a closed circle here at 0, because an S value of 0 gives me a real W value. I don't have any real W values to the left for S, but I do have W values to the right for S. So this is what my domain would look like. So let's see what that looks like over here. So if S is my domain, then do you see that S is always going to be equal to a positive number or 0? Started to put plus or minus, but it's just positive. So in this case, like I said, we're just worried about S values. And so do you see that this radical is always going to either give me a positive value or 0, which is going to be on a number line. I can have 0, or I can have any positive value as this, what that radical would be equal to, which is exactly what we just traced on that S-axis for question D. And so what that means is we're going to start at a value of 0 that's included, and we're going to go to infinity, which is an idea, so we're going to go ahead and close that with an open parentheses. So you're going to take the work that you did yesterday, you're going to plug it into Desmos, and see what that graph looks like, and see if the domain you get with Desmos is the domain that you predicted yesterday on the front page. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. I can always set up a Zoom if I get enough emails. And I love you. I miss you. Have a great weekend, and good luck studying for your AP test.